Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, I was running a minute late. We have a caller on a cell phone. Do you mind? Is a 30343 number? Do you mind introducing yourself, caller?
Yeah, Tim, it's Christina. My Zoom is updating on my computer, so I called in instead.
Sorry?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
It's Christina. I'm trying to get onto my computer, but it's doing updates for Zoom.
No worries. I figured it was you, but just wanted to double check.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I'll be on shortly as soon as it finishes updating.
No worries. So we have, with that clarification, we have a quorum. So we'll call this, which I believe to hopefully be the last meeting. I know that we thought the last one was the last meeting, but this hopefully will be the last meeting of the Englewood Environmental Foundation. All right, so the first item is approval of minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes for September 11th, 2003?
I will make motion to approve the meeting minutes for September 11, 2023.
Thank you, Member Lowe. Can I get a second? I'll second. And by voice votes, can we do a vote to approve? All those in favor of approving the September 11th meetings, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining, motion carries. The next item is approval of meeting minutes for October 5th, 2023. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for October 5th, 2023.
Thanks, Member Lowe. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Great. All those in favor by voice vote, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, all those abstaining, motion carries unanimously by voice vote. We're on to item number 3, recognition of public comment. Does anyone here wish to address the board? All right, so then we'll go to item number 4, new business. So the first item is a consent resolution for liquidation. So thanks to Michelle, you had this in your packets. I believe you saw information, members Lowe and Underhill, from our attorney, attorney Mike Miller. This is basically a document that we need to approve that effectively dissolves the organization. Before we vote on this, are there any questions or discussion?
I have a quick question, Tim, a consent for the special meeting of the board meeting. I just have a question about the city shall, number 1, resolve. The city shall assume any remaining contractual obligations of the corporation. Adequate provision shall be made. So I just want to clarify, contractual obligations are the outstanding contracts for like snow removal, landscaping. This does not include any environmental obligations, if any, right?
Yes, correct. It's the way you described. So it's for all the vendor contracts. So things like, yeah, snow and ice removal, the fountain maintenance, signage. So my understanding is that Melinda Garblish, our city architect, work to make most of those month to month now. So with the thought that, when we do have a property manager in place, they could, work to absorb those or figure that out. But yes, I believe it's for those service contracts.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, if not, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent resolution for liquidation.
Great, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Great, now we have a motion on the table and a second. Any further discussion before we vote? All right, we'll do a voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining, motion carries unanimously. We're on to 4B, which is approval of dissolution letter from the EVE board to the IRS. This is somewhat similar to the first one. This is a letter. It's a very simple, straightforward letter that we just need to approve as a board. This was written by Stephen Rickles, who's an attorney at Spencer Fane, where our attorney Mike Miller works. I believe since the inception of EVE, or close to the inception, Attorney Rickles has handled all the tax matters, so that is why he wrote this and not Attorney Mike Miller. But again, this is a form letter. It's very short, as you saw, that needs to go to the IRS. That basically says we have voted to dissolve and we no longer will exist.
Quick question. Do you know if we have received a response from the IRS?
I believe they were waiting to send, I think it's just written that way with the date. I thought it was on the agenda, so we would vote to approve it going out.
Okay.
I think that was the purpose, at least. Hopefully it hasn't gone out.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the letter notifying the IRS of dissolution.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Great. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining. All right, well, before we adjourn, I had a few quick things, and certainly board members, if you do as well, we could go over those, but I want to acknowledge Mike Flaherty is on the call. Mike was the deputy city manager for the city of Englewood, I believe, for about 16 or 17 years, from 1999 to 2016. So he was intimately involved in the beginning of EAF and with EAF for many years, and so he wanted to be a part of our last meeting. So I want to thank you, Mike, for all the work you did to build EAF and manage EAF, and for your willingness to be on this last meeting.
Thank
I
you
also,
for inviting me.
yeah, of course. And I'm going to go through it really quickly. There's a lot of thank yous that I just want to memorialize. So our city attorney, Tamara Niles, who helped coordinate between the city and EAF, our attorney, Mike Miller, for all of his assistance and advice, along with Stephen Rickles since EAF was in existence. Michelle Chavez, who's on the call, who works in our public works department, who has been an incredible support for the EAF board as the board secretary for the last few years. Kevin Ingalls, the finance manager in our finance department, for managing the finances of EAF. Melinda Goblersh, our city architect in public works, who facilitated numerous contracts and projects related to EAF. Dan Paramba, who is our redevelopment manager and community development, for actively participating in our meetings and making sure that there's a positive relationship between the EAF board and CAM members. Trey Blake, who is in our public works department as well, for his boots on the ground work with the many vendors and projects on the EAF property. Victor Rochelle, our public works director for almost the last year, about 11 months, for his work in managing public works employees that do a lot of this work, and for ensuring a smooth transition to the city being maintenance director. Mike, as I mentioned, who's on the call. Our city manager, Sean Lewis, for his support throughout the process. Community Development Director Brad Power for his service on the board in the past and for his guidance throughout the dissolution. Also want to thank former board president Maria DeAndrea for all of her work, and anyone else who served on the board or in that president role. And then finally, of course, I want to thank our finance director Jackie Lowe and our Parks Direct Library and Golf director Christina Underhill, who have both served with distinction on this board for a couple of years and have been critical in the final work. So I just wanted to say all those thank yous. Anybody else before we end?
Also want to thank Deputy City Manager Tim Dodd for being the fearless president for the last year. We are finishing strong.
Great. Anything else, Christina or Michelle, Mike, Victor? All
I'm good.
right.
Thank you.
Who wants to make the last motion to, hopefully the last motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I get a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Not hearing any opposed or any abstentions, motion carries. And I hope this is our last meeting and that we soon will be dissolved. And thank you again for all of your work.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.